What is going on, friends? Here is a brief look at the plans I made in SketchUp for this project. Without any delay and much haste, let's get started. We will need 4 boards measuring 8 feet long, 5.5 inches wide, and 3/4 of an inch thick. Here's a quick and dirty mock-up of the cut list and plan for cutting our boards most efficiently. All those half-inch measurements have been modified to 3/4 of an inch, which then made the plank lengths 12.5 inches. Following the guidance of my beautifully artful cut list sketch, I'll make a mark to cut on each required board. FYI, don't buy a Harbor Freight miter saw. Square is not in its vocabulary and is always off by a degree or two. We are using poplar for this project, which is what I like to call a night of trying to make love after too much whiskey. A soft hardwood. But all super hilarious jokes aside, it's a great wood to work with and it's freaking cheap. A little under $2 a board foot where I'm at, Cleveland, Ohio. We will set our fence to 1.5 inches to start to rip our boards down for our needed base, legs, and arms. Then we will move our fence in at 1 inch so we can cut our strips that will ultimately become our planks. Once we finish on the table saw, we can cut our base, legs, and arms to final length on the miter saw. Here we set the bandsaw to 1/4 inch to further along the development of our planks. From these 3/4 inch thick strips, we will get 2 cuts through with a little waste left over. After you run it through once, be sure to rotate the board so that the other surfaced or finished side is facing the fence. This will save you from unnecessary sanding or additional work down the old dusty road. Don't ask how I know this. And then optionally, fondle your wood at some point during the project. Next, we will cut our planks to the desired length of 12.5 inches. I set up a stop block on my janky miter saw stand to make this process easier. First, we want to find the center of our base, just for reference, which is 23 inches. Then we can use the arms matched up at the end to mark where our leg hole should go. Since our legs are 1.5 inches wide, we'll just measure in towards the center on each side to make another mark. Once we have that, we can find the center by measuring from corner to corner. Replicate this step everywhere we will drill a hole for our hardware. To ensure accuracy, I clamped the two base pieces together before drilling. I also put a scrap piece underneath to prevent blowout. I drilled all the holes needed on the legs in pairs. Here's me drilling out the bottom hole. Again, repeat this all the way up for where the arms will be attached. Since everything should be consistent, in theory, I used the holes drilled into one of our base pieces to mark the arms. Then I made the actual hole. This batch process seemed to save some time overall. To finish up the drilling portion of this feature, we need to hog out some room for the bolt's head and nut. Using a 5/8 inch Forstner bit at a depth of 1/2 inch, hit every hole on one side only. The hole size was dependent on the hardware I chose to use for this project, which was a 1/4 inch carriage bolt at a length of 1 inch. Just a quick check to make sure things were going to plan, and thank God they were. Using 80 grit sandpaper, we will clean up the burn marks left from the table saw because I was too lazy to change the blade from a 40 to a 24 TPI blade before ripping. I just love it when my front end laziness creates more work. Getting into the home stretch, it's time to stain. I wanted to use something super easy to work with that would be water resistant and UV resistant. It is a plant stand after all. So I went with a semi-transparent penetrating oil that is a wonderful product, and the cedar natural tone gave it a beautiful color. I honestly thought these planks would be the death of me, but after a few minutes I found a good method to knocking them out fast and easy. I think it only took me about 30 minutes to do 115 of them. After reassembling everything, we are set to start pinning down the planks. I chose a random spot to start and worked my way in. I used a plank to space them out and nailed an 18 gauge brad nail on each end. Alright guys, here it is. The plant stand is finished. All in all, it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. It was a fun project to do. Learned a little bit along the way as well. But you know what I think would make it a little bit better are some plants. So I picked out a nice sunny spot in the house, and yeah, let's go ahead and get some plants on there. A huge thank you to all 3 of you out there that watched this video. I do appreciate it. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing to see more videos.